You already know how to read people, you've just forgotten how to trust what you see. You were trained to doubt your instincts, to ignore your intuition, to believe words instead of patterns. But every person leaks their truth, through tone, pauses, micro-expressions, the way they react when they feel powerless. You just never learned the language. This is not a motivational list. It's an X-ray of the human soul, sharpened by Nietzsche's philosophy, confirmed by modern neuroscience. If you stay until the end, you won't just understand others. You'll never be fooled by them again. 1. Every person wears a mask and believes it's their face. Nietzsche once said, "Every profound spirit needs a mask." He wasn't talking about lies. He was talking about survival. From childhood, you learn to hide the traits that got punished and exaggerate the ones that got rewarded. That performance became what you call your personality. The shy kid became nice. The angry kid became disciplined. The ignored kid became the overachiever. But that's not character. That's conditioning. MRI studies show that when we suppress emotions, the prefrontal cortex goes to war with the amygdala. We don't grow, we fragment. If you want to read someone, don't look at who they pretend to be. Look at who they cannot be. That's where their real story begins. 2. What people hate most in others reveals what they've buried in themselves. This is projection, the psychological mechanism Freud named, but Nietzsche lived before it had a name. Watch what people mock. The man who ridicules weakness is terrified of his own vulnerability. The woman who attacks arrogance secretly craves validation. Hate is confession disguised as judgment. What disgusts us in others is what our shadow is begging us to integrate. You don't see people as they are. You see the parts of yourself you've rejected, reflected in them. 3. Silence never lies. Language evolved to manipulate, not to reveal. It's the silence between words that exposes truth. When someone dodges a topic, when their tone tightens for half a second, when they forget small details, their nervous system is confessing. Psychologists call this cognitive leakage, the brain's inability to keep deception congruent across verbal and non-verbal channels. If you want truth, stop listening to stories. Listen to tension. 4. The louder the virtue, the darker the shadow. People who need to prove their morality are rarely moral. Virtue that needs an audience is a strategy, not a conviction. Nietzsche called this the slave morality, goodness born from fear, not strength. A truly ethical person doesn't preach. They act quietly, decisively, without hashtags. The people don't lie to you first. They lie to themselves. I'm fine. I've moved on. I don't care. These aren't lies meant to deceive others. They're self-preservation scripts repeated until the body believes them. Neuroscience confirms it. Chronic self-deception activates the brain's pain reduction circuits. Truth hurts, literally. So the mind edits it. But cracks always appear. Contradictions, deflections, rehearsed smiles all reveal the places where the truth keeps trying to break through. 6. The urge to dominate hides the terror of being unseen. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's fear wearing armor. Those who crave control are usually those who once felt powerless. Nietzsche called this the will to power, but in its neuropsychological form, it's the trauma response of overcompensation. A controlling person is not secure. They're trying to keep internal chaos from spilling out. If you can see that, you'll never fear them again. 7. People act powerful to hide guilt. Guilt creates a psychological imbalance, so we swing to the opposite extreme. The narcissist who demands admiration is usually compensating for deep shame. The guru who claims enlightenment is still running from a wound. True power doesn't need to announce itself. The more someone performs certainty, the more terrified they are that it's an illusion. 8. Exaggeration is the ego screaming over its own doubt. I never lie. I don't care what people think. I'm always happy. Every always and never is a red flag. The human psyche doesn't speak in absolutes. Insecurity does. Psycholinguistic studies show that liars and overcompensators use more extreme language and fewer self-references. The higher the volume, the deeper the insecurity. The need for control is a symptom of inner chaos. The micromanager, the perfectionist, the manipulator, all operate from the same illusion. If I control everything outside me, I won't have to face what's inside. But the harder they grip, the more their world collapses. It's entropy disguised as order. The calm ones, the ones who can watch life unfold without panic, they've made peace with their own uncertainty. That's real control. 10. Performance is the modern form of despair. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But what happens when there's no why? We perform. Social media is a theater of emptiness, curated smiles masking existential hunger. People don't post to express themselves, they post to prove they exist. Underneath the filters lies a single silent plea: please confirm that I matter. Fear is the architect of personality. Every trait you admire in yourself was once built to prevent pain. Your confidence grew where you were once dismissed. Your independence grew where love was unreliable. Your calmness grew where chaos was constant. Personality is the scar tissue of the soul. We call it identity because we've forgotten what it's protecting. 12. People repeat pain because pain feels familiar. We don't chase happiness, we chase what we recognize. If love once came with anxiety, calm love feels wrong. If attention once came through drama, peace feels boring. That's not stupidity, it's neurobiology. The brain prefers predictability over pleasure. That's why so many return to toxic partners and call it destiny. It's not destiny, it's the nervous system seeking homeostasis. 13. No one speaks from logic, they speak from pain. Every opinion, every worldview, every ideology is a scar shaped into philosophy. The person who says love is weakness was once humiliated for needing it. The cynic who mocks hope once had theirs crushed. You're not arguing with intellects, you're arguing with trauma wrapped in words. And when you realize that, you stop debating and start seeing. 14. How someone treats weakness reveals their true strength. Anyone can be kind to power, but only the self-mastered can be kind to vulnerability. Watch how someone behaves with those who have nothing to offer them. That's their real face. The sadist hides insecurity, the compassionate one has conquered it. Real power doesn't humiliate, it elevates. 15. The hunger for attention is the fear of erasure. The louder the person, the quieter the self-esteem. Children ignored by their parents often become adults addicted to visibility. Not because they love attention, but because they equate silence with annihilation. Attention is oxygen for the emotionally starved. That's why so many would rather be hated than ignored. 16. The one they attack is often the one they secretly admire. Envy is unacknowledged desire. We destroy what reminds us of what we abandoned in ourselves. When someone mocks your ambition, your beauty, your peace, they're not rejecting you. They're grieving the version of themselves that never got permission to be that free. 17. People don't act from beliefs, they act from unfinished childhoods. A person who was never listened to becomes a talker. A person who was punished for mistakes becomes a perfectionist. A person who was loved conditionally becomes a performer. Therapy calls this repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to recreate old pain until it's mastered. Nietzsche called it eternal recurrence, living the same story until you learn to write a new one. 18. Patterns are confessions written in behavior. You don't need people to tell you who they are. Their patterns do. The one who ghosts when intimacy grows is saying, "I was once trapped." The one who never rests is saying, "Stillness once felt unsafe." The one who jokes about everything is saying, "If I laugh, maybe you won't see me cry." People speak in code. If you listen to patterns, you'll hear their autobiography. The final truth. Once you learn to read people, you stop reacting. You stop personalizing. You start seeing. You realize everyone is at war with ghosts they don't remember. That cruelty is self-protection. That arrogance is self-doubt. That even manipulation is just fear trying to stay alive. Reading people isn't about power over them, it's power over yourself. Because once you understand why others do what they do, you also see why you do what you do. And that's the moment of awakening Nietzsche called self-overcoming. It's not about judging humanity. It's about transcending it. When you see the masks, the projections, the insecurities, and the inherited madness for what they are, you stop playing the game. And that's when real freedom begins. If this video shattered an illusion, don't scroll away. Pause. Reflect. Ask yourself, which mask am I still wearing to survive? Because the moment you name it, it starts to fall.